A nuclear fusion reactor directs high-energy laser beams at a fuel pellet target containing deuterium and tritium as reaction fuel. Shockwaves pass through the fuel pellet target due to the high-energy beam's impact, heating and compressing it to trigger fusion reactions. So, without any further ado, join us as we take you inside the world's largest nuclear fusion reactor. But before we do that, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell button to be notified whenever we publish a new video. Nuclear fusion power. Fusion power can provide future generations with a virtually limitless source of energy, but it also poses unsolved engineering problems. The main issue is to get a fusion plasma's rate of heat emission to exceed the rate of energy input into the plasma. Tokamak reactors and stellarators, which magnetically contain a deuterium-tritium plasma, are the primary hope. When hydrogen is heated to extremely high temperatures, the negatively charged electrons are separated from the positively charged atomic nuclei, resulting in a plasma. Fusion usually is impossible because the extremely repulsive electrostatic interactions between the positively charged nuclei prohibit them from approaching each other near enough to smash and fuse. Suppose the conditions are sufficient that the nuclei can overcome the electrostatic forces to the point that they can approach within a very close range of one another. In that case, the attractive nuclear force between them will surpass the repulsive electrostatic force, allowing them to fuse. When the temperature rises, the ions travel faster, ultimately reaching speeds high enough to bring them closer together. After that, the nuclei can fuse, releasing energy. Assembly phase in France. The International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor, ITER, was widely expected to achieve that breakthrough. ITER's goal is to evaluate the viability of fusion in a power station. It is funded and administered by 7 members: the European Union, China, Japan, Russia, South Korea, and the United States. Fusion research is costly, and the ITER project is estimated to cost more than 15 billion euros in total. The world's biggest nuclear fusion project began its 5-year assembly phase in southern France, with the first ultra-hot plasma projected in late 2025. ITER Director General Bernard Bigot remarked that putting the machine together piece by piece will be like putting together a 3-dimensional jigsaw on a complex timetable with the accuracy of a Swiss watch. The ITER project was first proposed in 1985. However, it has been plagued by delays. It will be a miracle for the Earth if clean energy can be used exclusively. He said that fusion with renewable energy would enable electric transportation, buildings, and industries in combination with renewable energy. The 20 billion euros, 18.2 billion pounds ITER project aims to mimic the processes that power the sun and show that fusion energy can be produced commercially. Nuclear fusion offers pure, limitless electricity, but it has failed to overcome the technological hurdles of capturing such massive amounts of energy, despite 60 years of research. The enormous reactor, which will weigh 23,000 tons and be the most complicated engineering endeavor in history, will be assembled using millions of components, almost 3,000 tons of superconducting magnets, some the size of jumbo planes, will be linked by 200 kilometers of superconducting cables, all of which will be kept at minus 269 degrees Celsius by the world's most extensive cryogenic facility. When the heavy hydrogen atoms fuse, nuclear fusion generates vast quantities of energy, but it demands a temperature of 150 million degrees Celsius, 10 times hotter than the sun's core. The hydrogen fuel is made from seawater, and just a few grams are required. But massive magnets are required to keep the plasma contained in the tokamak, a donut-shaped vacuum chamber. How does a nuclear fusion work? Nuclear power plants use a process known as nuclear efficient. Inefficient reactors strain or neutron slam into more significant to generate electricity, typically uranium or plutonium splits, releasing energy and even more neutrons, splitting additional atoms, resulting in a spectacular chain reaction. We've all seen catastrophe movies and scary old-school videos of massive bombs detonating in a typical nuclear power facility. The heat created by the runaway reaction boils water, resulting in steam, which powers turbines and creates energy. Even though the phrase sounds uncomfortably close to fission, fusion is an entirely distinct process. Two or more lighter atoms, generally hydrogen isotopes, are smooshed together to produce a bigger element. Usually, this is the same chemical process occurring right now at the heart of every star. Fusion can create 4 times as much energy as old-fashioned fossil fuels, not to mention many millions of times as much energy. At this point, you could legitimately wonder why every nuclear power plant isn't already fusion-based. To achieve fusion, 3 extremely tough criteria must first be met. First, the temperature in the reactor core must be raised to about 150 million degrees Celsius before fusion may potentially occur. That's a relatively energy-intensive procedure. Second, the so-called plasma in which this reaction happens must be dense enough to allow for fusion. Third, the plasma must be kept in confinement long sufficient for the power generator to be productively harnessed. Plenty of magnetism. ITER is an enormously ambitious energy project that has taken 35 years to complete and involves 35 countries from across the world. Its objective is to use fusion as an industrial-scale source of renewable energy. When the South of France facility goes online in 4 years, it will be the world's most giant nuclear fusion reactor. Imagine a plant that is so strong that it can produce the energy of the sun on Earth. ITER, which stands for the way in Latin, is projected to represent a significant step toward decarbonization. The plasma generated by the fusion process is contained in the reactor by a tokamak device, which employs toroidal, doughnut-shaped magnetic field coils. The coils, which total 18, and are the size of a 6-story skyscraper and weigh 6,000 metric tons, are the world's most potent superconductive magnets. Inside the world's largest nuclear fission reactor, one of the hottest locations in the cosmos will be ITER, one of the coldest spots in the Union and the vacuum vessel that will hold and manage the 150 million degrees Celsius plasma. The magnets containing and regulating the plasma must be kept at minus 269 degrees Celsius, or roughly 4 kelvins. The 2 sections are separated by a beryllium-coated steel blanket that links to the vacuum vessel's internal walls through stub keys, which are currently covered by yellow covers to keep dust out. On June 9, 2020, Larsen and Toubro completed the delivery and installation of the cryostat module. The cryostat, which is built on a seismically separated base, is the heart of the system. Through a legally independent organization, the European Union is one of the 7 signatories to the ITER agreement. Like typical nuclear fission reactors, fusion reactors do not create greenhouse gas-emitting carbon dioxide, but they also do not melt down and produce far less radioactive waste. The ITER project will develop a self-heating or burning plasma. It is projected to produce 10 times the amount of heat put in, considerably beyond any previous attempt. When it's working, it'll use a lot of electricity to power the magnets and scientific instruments. But it's only a proof of concept for large-scale fusion, not a design for a future commercial reactor. The cryostat, which surrounds the reactor and keeps it at the shallow temperature necessary, is one of the constructed components. It has a 30-meter diameter and is made in India. The magnetic force of one of the electromagnets known as the central solenoid, developed by the United States, will be lifted by an aircraft carrier. Were you amazed at what's inside the world's largest fusion reactor? What do you think about its function, capability, features, and whatnots? Is this the first time that you've witnessed this type of technology? Also, what are your thoughts on the video? Feel free to drop your reactions and responses in the comment section below. And before leaving, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button for notifications on our future content. See you in the next video.